We've talked about having make or break episodes in the past, but this is the makiest, most breakiest of make or break episodes. If we mess this up, I'm pretty sure that's the season gone. Hello and welcome to Season 20, Part 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we've got the second leg of our Europa League first knockout round game against Porto at home. It's 0-0 from the first leg, so we've got a little bit to do, but not the worst result in the world. And then we've got the EFL Cup final against Chelsea. Since you were last with me, we've managed to get ourselves knocked out of the FA Cup by our old club Ipswich. I want to say it was all reserves in that game. It certainly wasn't all reserves. I mean, there's a few reserves in there. Joseph Owusu, Liam Wells, Eduardo Montero. The rest of them are pretty much regulars in and around the first team, so no excuses. We've got knocked out by Ipswich. Alston, I still don't know how to say the man's name. He scored. That shows how bad we were in that game. We were slightly less bad in the Europa League first leg away against Porto. We did actually go there and counter-attack, came away with a 0-0. We did control the game, a little bit unlucky not to come away with a win, but considering how free scoring we've been all season, in 3 of our last 4 games we've failed to score. So that's something that needs to be remedied today, starting with this home leg against Porto, where it's become a normal cup tie rather than these silly over 2 legs nonsense. As long as we win, we go through. If we draw, effectively we go out. A 0-0 takes it to extra time, but if it's any kind of score draw, Porto have us on away goals. So this is going to be the team that we take on Porto with today. We've got Diaz in goal, a back four of Nyhouse, Plotnikov, Eriksson and Ndai. Sedman, Medor and Wagner are our midfield, with Oscar in behind Demchenko and Iribarren. It's the strongest team, possibly with the exception of having Ziyech, but I kind of want to win the EFL Cup, so he's not quite fully fit, so he's being saved for that. Vendrig might play at the expense of Iribarren in the EFL Cup final, because Iribarren, I think, is getting to the point where he's playing so many games that we might be starting to break him and tire him out. Every time I rotate everybody apart from Mr. Goal a Game, better than goal a game, Ruben Iribarren, Mr. Ballon d'Or. It's starting to show a little bit because, like we said before the match, for the first time all season, he's having a little bit of a dry patch. For the first time in his Premier League career, really, if you look at his scoring record for Liverpool, and to be honest, his scoring record before he arrived at Liverpool as well, we've managed to break the best player in the world, because up until now, he's always consistently scored throughout his career. I mean, it's a dodgy spell for him. All that being said, less than a minute on the clock, and Oscar gets his 21st goal of the season to put us 1-0 up. And now we are in the situation where as long as we win the match, we win the tie. Anything other than a win of the match, and we lose the tie. Nice and simple. None of this confusion of, a 0-0. Well, we can't do a 0-0 now. And Iribarren did make it. A lot of luck for Oscar there with the deflection that took it past the keeper. But who cares how it happened? The important thing is it did happen. We're 1-0 up. And we just need to win the game now. A couple more goals before half time, and we can start to relax a little bit. I don't really know how good Porto are. I think they're actually probably better than we are if we look at their record in European competitions over the last few years. The Portuguese teams have been in and around the finals. Benfica more than Porto, I think, but they're both decent. They're both big clubs. Although I guess we're kind of establishing ourselves as certainly one of the big 4 in the Premier League, if not one of the best teams in the Premier League. Certainly on our day, we have the beating of anybody, and it would be nice to grab another goal in this game. Iribarren's there and should have scored. I don't really know what he was thinking. I can only assume that's a defensive header and not Iribarren nodding it back out to Nyhouse on the wing. Because if that's what he was doing, the man has lost it, and it's time to retire him. We've brought him in, we've used him for 6 months, we've broken him, send him on his merry way. It's how Kev develops players. If you're worried you might become the best player in the world, just come and have 6 months playing for Kev. I'll break you. Demchenko misses from miles out, and just like in the first tie, we are absolutely controlling the game. Look at those stats, but it is nervy knowing that if Porto equalise, they effectively go in the lead. We're going to take off both of the strikers. We can't take Iribarren off. That is silly. We'll bring Ziyech. Oh, no. We're not going to bring both. We're going to take off Demchenko and bring on Vendrig. And we're going to bring on Ziyech in midfield for Wagner. And I want to just drop back to standard. Although, potentially, just inviting them to come and score now, it's perhaps what they've been waiting for the whole game. We really need a second here. Nyhouse is in. Iribarren's there to Oscar. And Oscar gets his second of the game. And hopefully, that's it. That should be all we need. If Porto managed to come back in it from nothing to get 2 goals in these last 18 minutes or so, then we deserve to lose. It's a little tap in from Oscar again. He's got himself into some very good positions today and got himself 2 poachers goals from midfield, which is a rather pleasant situation to be in. Sedman's going to come off as well now. We're going to bring Anicic on for him and just wind down the game at this point. We'll drop to counter in a second. I don't know why I don't do this when I'm on the tactics screen. But yeah, we'll just drop down to counter. I don't think we need to go any more defensive than counter. Counter's fine. If they get a goal back, we'll go back up to standard again because I'm counterintuitive. But hopefully, I mean, they've not looked like scoring at any point in this tie. Vendrig's in and hits the post. It'd be nice for him to rediscover how to score goals. And he has! Vendrig sticks it into what looks like the top corner. Ridiculously, it's only his second goal of the season when he scored 49 goals last year. But he's scored one on the big stage in Europe. And, I mean, Iribarren set it up on a plate for him. It's not the top corner at all. It's shin high straight at the keeper. And he sort of pushes it into the corner to make it look better. It doesn't matter how it went in. Iribarren might not have scored today, but he's got a hat-trick of assists. He's been playing like a superstar. And Vendrig has learnt how to score goals again. And if we could finally get that front 3 working, and that's the first time we've had even a little spark of it, with Oscar getting 2 goals, Vendrig the other, and Iribarren setting all 3 of them up. If we can get that front 3 working, we will win everything this season. I never want to hear it said that we didn't try and win the EFL Cup for the second year in a row. Even if it all goes wrong, this is the strongest 11 that we've got available to us. So we've made a couple of changes. We're going to try this front 3 out. Surely it's got to click properly from the start of a match at some point. We saw a little glimmer of it against Porto. So Vendrig comes in for Demchenko. I'm so desperate for that combination of players to work. Other than that, Ziyech comes back in to the midfield at the expense of Wagner. Ribeiro comes in for Nyhouse. And the rest of the team who did so very well against Porto get to have a chance to do the same thing against Chelsea. Now remember, we won this competition last year, but against much easier opposition. Does anyone remember who we played? The problem is Chelsea are a player that we do seem to struggle against. Like, consistently struggle. They beat us all of the time. And I'm not oozing with confidence going into this game. I'm just hoping that the fact that we've got our absolute full-strength team out there, there's a chance they might rest a few players. I don't really know how seriously the AI in this game takes this kind of competition. We certainly didn't play a full-strength team in the final last year. We mixed things up a little bit. If we just want a penalty... I mean, I wasn't even looking at the penalty area when all that went on. The free kick was still floating through the air, and I guess there's some shoving and pushing going on in the penalty area. It seems a little bit harsh for a Wembley final, but Oscar's got the chance to put us 1-0 up, and to be fair, I think justice is probably done there, because it seemed like a bit of an iffy penalty. I didn't see any... I mean, I know they're just dots, but I didn't see anything happen. Oh, battery emergency. If any of you ever feel like being really, really ridiculously rich, make a camera battery that lasts longer than like an hour and a half or whatever it is this one lasts. I have to charge it every day. Forget to charge it. Things like that happen. Luckily, a spare is on hand and we can attack. What was happening? Running into the house to fetch a battery is very inconvenient mid-match. Oscar's in here, though, and Iribarren finally scores a goal for the first time in what seems like forever. It's probably only been 3 games. It feels like a lifetime in the life of Ruben Iribarren, but I'm going to say the front 3 combined there. It was Vendrig who played to Sedman and then out to Oscar, and then it finds its way to Iribarren. All 3 of them are involved in the move. So desperate for it to work as a front 3, because it could be the best front line in the world if we can get it to click. Right, let's get into the second. I'm being told off for shouting now. We've had battery problems. Now, it's a cup final. Goodness me, I'm allowed to shout when we go 1-0 up in a cup final against one of our big rivals. Diaz collects from the cross. That's what we didn't get with Igor. The fact Diaz can come out and command his area like that. He's not quite as good a shot stopper as Igor, But goodness me, can he collect a cross? He's going to drop a cross now in like the 89th minute. Iribarren forcing a save out. I love the fact that Chelsea's goalkeeper's called Festus. Wrestling fans will love that too. And he's been their keeper for years, and I kind of want to sign him just because his name is great. And plus, he must be pretty decent for him to been at Chelsea for this long. So perhaps it is worth an investigation, see if he wants to come and join a bigger club. Right, Medor with a chance to rebuild as the corner is cleared. Eriksson to Ziyech to Oscar. We're playing the ball around really nicely again. Oscar's, while everyone else around him is being a little bit iffy at the moment, Oscar seems to be coming alive a little bit as he gets a little bit older. He's much more consistent and much more effective than he was nearly 2 years ago when we signed him. He's demonstrated it again there, putting Iribarren in. And again, Festus, brilliant, making a good save. Ziyech with the corner. Plotnikov probably should have done a little bit better there. He should at least be forcing a save out of Festus when you get a free header in the penalty area like that. But Ziyech intercepts in midfield. Oscar can't win the header this time, but it works its way to Iribarren, and Oscar's now through. And it's very good goalkeeping again from Festus, and Nyhouse nearly scoring from a gazillion miles away, but denied by, it's so long ago, I forget. The crossbar maybe? Or did he just miss? It feels like that was one of those spells. It all got a little bit hectic where we kind of needed to score a goal. That couldn't have been Nyhouse shooting from that range because he's not on the pitch. It must have been Ribeiro or someone else. Interesting. Vendrig not having the best of games. Demchenko's going to come on for him in the interests of trying to grab a second goal because I am nervy while it's only 1-0. I want to switch to counter-attacking. I don't want to do it while we're only 1-0 up. Vendrig nods the ball down brilliantly to Iribarren. And I tell you what, old Festus is having the game of his life. We could be 4 or 5-0 up if it wasn't for the Chelsea goalkeeper. And it's the same story we've had against Porto over 2 legs. We have absolutely dominated this football match. Look at those stats. But we're only 1-0 up. And sooner or later, we're going to get bitten in the backside in a game like this, where we've been all over our opposition for most of the game, and then they just go and steal one at the end, and here it is. Diaz makes a good save. We said he's not much of a shot stopper. Luckily, it was straight at him. I don't know why Diaz is chasing out there, so eager to take the goal kick there. Let the Chelsea players fetch it. There's 10 minutes to go in a cup final, and we're in the lead. Sedman scores. Oh, that takes some pressure off. Christian Sedman, only his 3rd goal of the season, but it's a lovely free kick. Just thwack. There you go. Festus can only get fingertips to it, and Sedman's doing a Gaza dance. Right, that should be that. Let's drop down to counter-attacking just to make sure. Iribarren's in again here, and, that's just pathetic. But I love the fact that we've absolutely dominated Chelsea and done it at Wembley in a cup final, and unless something goes desperately wrong in the next 2 minutes, we win this competition for the 2nd year in a row. And Oscar's in to make it 3. We were talking about him earlier in the match. He's in brilliant form at the moment. While Iribarren's having a bit of a dry patch and I'm trying to decide who we want out of Vendrick and Demchenko, Oscar is just consistent, game in, game out. Let's grab a goal. He's going to get 30-plus goals this season from attacking midfield. I'd put a strong argument out there that he might be whiskers away from being the best player in the world, even pushing Iribarren. Iribarren's a great goal scorer, but Oscar can do that as well as all the other stuff he brings to the game. And there you go, joint top scorer in the competition as well. 6 goals in this run to victory in the EFL Cup. We've won it for the 2nd season in a row, the 3rd time in 6 seasons, although we weren't at the club when that one happened. And that's all rather marvellous, as is the tradition. When you win a competition, we need to check the Hall of Fame. I know I'm nowhere near it. Where are we? We are still hanging off the bottom. We're so far away of getting anywhere near that Hall of Fame. That is a worldwide one. Let's have a look at the nation or nationality. Which one's going to be lower? We might hit that top 10 on nationality at some point. Might even do it this season if we win the league and the Europa League as well. We're not going to win both of those things, but things are looking a little bit better. We said it was make or break. Well, for the time being, that was make. Now we've got Marseille in the 2nd knockout round of the Europa League. The Premier League is difficult. It's unlikely to happen. Arsenal on top of the league. We can't let Arsenal win the league. We have a game in hand on them. So let's see if Kev can do maths today. If we can win our game in hand, we'll only be 4 points behind Arsenal. It's doable. You lot need to let me know in the comments, which one are we going for? I said it yesterday, and it rings even more true today. The FA Cup and the EFL Cup are out of the way now. We've got 2 big competitions that we can focus on for the rest of the season. We don't have the squad size to try and win both of them. If you look at how the fixtures come, if we run all the way through to the final of the Europa League, you've seen it with Man United in real life this season. The games come so thick and fast that we can't focus on both. Which one do we focus on? If you've enjoyed that, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.